If they running their mouth, then they looking for trouble. Ran right up in the knowledge, now they back in the huddle. See, they know we can fight, new content every week. Me and Dr. Clyde, keep on bringing the heat. Now they know they were driven, and they know we quitting. Yoshi and the winner, keep on bringing the energy. Unity, unity, unity. See, they know we ain't stopping, and they know they got problems, and they ran out of options. If they know got a problem, can't let it go unsolved. Brain based learner, Afrocentric history, we see tomorrow. Karma is karma, I say what I say, I hear underwater. Till I see I fall off, then I bring y'all up on note. I'm back up on my Clyde winners, 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 Clyde winners. Divine winters, Clyde winters, mind bender, Clyde winters. I'm Richard, ride with ya, master teacher, create masters, Clyde winters. Give respect to the elder, Clyde winters. Somebody else that living for me. I told you somebody else that looking for me. I think there's somebody else that looking for me. I think there's somebody else that looking for me.
We have to live by God. We have to live by God. I have not done wrong. I have not robbed. I have not stolen. I have not drank. I have not told lies. I have not stolen food. I was not stolen. I have not fornicated with the fornicator. I have not caused anyone to weep. I have not dissembled. I have not transgressed. I have not discussed secrets. I have brought no lawsuits. I have not wronged the I have not struck kill. I have not transgressed the law. I have not been hunted. Except when I'm talking about on the tongue. I have not made extolling. I have not bragged. I have not cursed. I have not been violent. I have not confounded truth. I have not been impatient. I have not cursed again.
Somebody else that living for me.
Love, love.
Dr. Winter's legacy is a testament to the power of knowledge and the unyielding spirit of exploration. His impact is felt worldwide, as he shares and enlightens at conferences, symposiums, and collaborative projects. His voice is a beacon in the academic world, challenging, inspiring, and always educating. His journey reminds us that the quest for knowledge is never-ending, and its impact is timeless. Dr. Winters teaches us to challenge the narratives and to learn with an open mind. As he always says, B1 is not a group, it's a lineage. Let his story inspire everybody to pursue knowledge relentlessly and to always seek the truth. Now let us welcome in the grandfather of research, the Trill OG himself, the Honorable Dr. Clyde Winters.
I don't get a kick out of telling lies. Let the researcher do the research. Oh, no. I spent years studying the ties. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah. Black first, with strength we rise. Yeah, let the researcher do the research. Yeah, unite in truth and kill the lies. Let the researcher do the research. I learned to debunk my own craft. Respect is all that I had. Dr. Winters. I was sent here to finish my task, to become the greatest researcher, and that's who I am, Dr. Winters. Yeah. Na 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 na. Let the research gotta tell it lies. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah, yeah. I spent years studying the tides. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah, yeah. Black first, with strength we rise. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah, yeah. Unite in truth and kill the lies. Be one, be one, be one. Be one to win this fight.
We have to always
we must
remain
unite.
black
Stand up
first.
for the righteous and let your skin shine bright. Be one, be one, be one, be one. Lessons whispered at night.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Howdy, everybody. Thanks again for coming to our Black History Gems. Yes, you're here. You're with me. You're with Black History Gems. Yes, yes. Family, I come to you every Thursday to talk about our historical experiences. But when I come, I'm not here to talk about, this common stuff. I'm not here to talk about your average information. What I'm here to do is I'm here to talk about, in a sense, our real history. What's up, Brave Cold Water? Awesome. Thank you. And also, what's up, S.A. Smith? Peace, everyone. You got that right. Peace, baby. I'm not going to sing because, back in the day when I was in high school, I had a pretty good voice. I had that voice that I could sing and make the whole world feel free. But I don't have that voice anymore. And so, what it's all about now is it's about coming to you every week. How you doing, Karen, Vincent? I really appreciate the fact that I can come to you and not only come to you, but I can come to you with the latest information about our history, the latest information about our culture. And this is very important to me. And what makes that possible, create so far, Karen, is the fact, in a sense, is that my my Patreon. Yes. The members of my Patreon, it makes it possible for me to be able to come to you and spend time with you and talk to you about various aspects of our history, various aspects of our culture. And that's what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to talk about, in a sense, Abubakari. Yes. We're going to talk about Abubakari. Why are we going to talk about Abubakari? We're going to talk about Abubakari because Abubakari is the man. Yes, he's the man, Abubakari, this brother, in a sense, he explored much of the Americas. And now some people claim that there's no evidence that he was here, but he was here, Great so far. Thank you so much. You're very kind. Sing it, Dr. Winter, sing it. Yes, you're very kind. See, that's why I love Create So Far. Because I say the right things, because it is very important to understand that we're Black first. Yes, we're Black first. But again, I want to talk to you about Abubakari today, and I'm excited about this particular presentation because, a lot of people, in a sense, they only touch the surface. What I want to do, I want to try to give a detailed, discussion of this great African explorer. It is so often. It's so often that we think about, the African village. It's just like now we think everybody lives in maybe huts and that. But these people built stone cities, they built stone monuments, not just pyramids. And the thing is, this is that they brought this technology of building in stone. Much of it they brought to the United States. That doesn't mean, in a sense, that we didn't already have our traditions. Yes, I've done a video or two on that, and I'm going to do another video. Go back over some of the experiences, how we build pyramids, how we build stone roads, and this is, But what makes it so interesting is that when you think about the Americas, and you say, damn, why did they have roads? Because see, why would they have these elevated roads? So that in a sense, water wouldn't be able to stop rain, or some couldn't stop the transportation. Why would they have these elevated roads unless they had, in a sense, what? They had some sort of something to carry, like carts and things like this. And then also we have to assume that if they had these carts, that they had to have some animal probably pulling those vehicles. I mean, it's something that has to be really discussed. I mean, we already know that when the Europeans got over here, they found a lot of wild horses. This leads me to wonder, how long was the horse domesticated over here in these United States? Because they had to have had some beast of burden to pull those carts, pull those vehicles. And I think that's a very important thing. Karen, you're such a great supporter. Karen says, blessings, Dr. Winter, spread the knowledge. Yes, I'm going to spread the knowledge. But, so when we think about these roads, we think about these great roads and pyramids, what happened to them? And see, what a lot of people understand is that Europeans used the pyramids that we built in these United States. They used those pyramids and other rock structures, stone structures. They used those sites as quarries. What I mean by that is that they would tear down these pyramids or tear down these stone structures, and they would take the stone and they would build their own houses with it. Yes. They used our stone monuments to as a way to be able to build in a sense various towns and villages across the Midwest. And so that's why, in a sense, you don't see the pyramids here like you see the pyramids in Mexico. The only reason that the pyramids in Mexico are still solvent today, and they're still fairly constructed and show the genius of the people in that part of the Americas, because the fact is that these pyramids were built in jungles, and because they were built in jungles, the jungle, the plants in the jungle have overgrown many of these pyramids, and down in South America, down in Mexico. But see, because we built stuff in the Midwest, and it wasn't, in a sense, it's not a jungle area, and so many of the buildings there remained, in good condition. Because they remained in good condition, many people, in a sense, would just go to those monuments. They would tear them down. They would use them as quarries. They would use them as a place to get stones to build our own houses. But again, let's get started, so we can get on the case. Yes. We're going to talk about Abubakari and the discovery of America. You can join my Patreon to see the slides. As we do every Thursday, I do this presentation, Black History Gems, and then after the presentation, I put the slides into my Patreon site. So please join my Patreon. It's only $5. Yes, it's only $5. It's only $5 a month, but this $5 a month, if you join my Patreon, supports my research. It helps me to buy the books. It helps me to get articles that are often behind a paywall because of my Patreon members. Please join my Patreon, $5 a month. So go to our Patreon, look for Clyde Winters, and support me. You can find me at Twitter at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. My YouTube channel, which is Clyde Winters and Afrocentric History. This site has over 4 Just about. I'm gonna put another one up because we got $4.99. This will make 500. So it's got 500 videos on this site. I repeat, this site has 500 videos on each and every aspect of Black history. So I want you to just come to this site, not just to see my weekly presentation on Thursday related to history, but I want you to come here and visit the site and check out many of my videos on every aspect of Black history. You can come here and use these videos as a means to teach yourself, your children, and your friends the history of Black people over the past 4,000 years. Yes, yes, yes. Check out the videos on this site. You can order my books at Amazon.com. You know, B1, Black First. B1, Brilliant First. Yes, yes, yes. We are Black and brilliant. Yes, we are. We're Black and brilliant because we're Black. We're brilliant. Many people don't know that Black, that means brilliant. Yes, it means brilliant in old English. So again, it seems as though in early times, people knew in a sense that we are Black and brilliant, and they knew. What makes it so cool is that they knew this. We didn't know that, but that's what Black means. What is FBA? I'll tell you since I'm FBA. FBA is not a group. FBA is not an organization. FBA is a lineage. A lineage is lineal descent from an ancestral pedigree. As a result, we are descendants of the Black Europeans. Yes. African and Aboriginal Blacks who built the United States. Yes. The United States of America was built by a tripartite Black population. A tripartite. That means three different groups. And those three different groups were what? Black Europeans, Sub-Saharan Africans, and the Aboriginal Blacks that are the foundation of the United States. You know, you can find me at Twitter at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. And of course, as I said earlier, go to Amazon.com, order one of my books. I have 50 books. And I'm working on another book right now that I'm trying to get out. And the reason I've written all these books is there's so much of our history that we don't know about. You know, we know about those common features. Yeah, John Henry Clark, he was a great advocate of our history. But John Henry Clark, he only talked about the history that the white man had written about. Yes, yes. He only talked about the history that the white man had written about. You know, he didn't, in a sense, do original research. What I've tried to do is that I've tried to conduct original research on just about everything related to Black people. Blacks in Asia, Blacks in the Americas, Blacks in Europe, the black methodology, Black historiography. Yes, yes. Order my books at Amazon.com. Go there and look. Just put in the name Clyde Winters, books, Amazon.com, and support me. Support my research. Because see, every time you're buying my books, every time, in a sense, you're joining my Patreon, what you're doing, in a sense, is that you're providing me with the funds, the necessary funds to continue the original research related to African and Black people. You know, if you want to learn more about ancient Blacks in America, you can now buy these books. David Imhotep, may rest in peace. Wonderful brother, wonderful brother. Get his book, The First Americans or Africans, expanded and revised. This is a very beautiful book. It's a rich book. And on the cover of this book, he has, in a sense, you know, some of the Maya from Benampec, and he has the Olmec heads. Get this book, The First Americans or Africans, by David Imhotep. If you want to find out more about ancient Americans, you can get my book, The Mandy in Ancient America, and also my book, African Empires in Ancient America. My book, African Empires in Ancient America. Now, that's a very important book. And what makes my book, you know, African Empires in Ancient America, so important is because the fact, in the sense, is that this is the only book. It's the only book that you're going to find that does not talk about Black contributionism to American history. It doesn't talk about Black contributionism. What it does is that in this book, you will find out about the numerous African empires. Empire means multi-state, you know, territories, multi-state, in a sense, areas of the Americas dominated by Black people. African empires in ancient America will provide you with that information, so check it out. Other books include Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico, it talks about, in a sense, the Olmec civilization, you know, African origin world writing system. It explains to you, in a sense, that the various writing systems that Black and African people developed, which are many. It also tells you, in a sense, their location, their existence, their history, and also a little bit on how to read them. If you want to find out more about American history, get my book, American, History in America from Prehistory to 1877, and get my book, We're Not Just Africans. In these books, I talk about our tripartite origin as Aboriginal Blacks, as Black Europeans, and as Sub-Saharan Africans by these books. And then, of course, my book, The World History of the Black Race. The World History of the Black Race should be a tabletop book in every home, in every foundational Black American home. It should have a copy of the book, The World History of the Black Race. And the reason you should have a copy of that book is that is a book that when people come into your house, they should be able to pick it up, look at it, and see our wonderful civilizations, the wonderful history that we have. And this book, in a sense, it's a book, in a sense, that talks about our presence and talks about our existence and talks about our history throughout the world. So get this book. Everybody should have this book, on their tables. Abubakari and the Discovery of America. Yes. Europeans learned about America from their travels along the west coast of Africa. Vasco da Gama is said to have found out information concerning the West Indies from Ahmed ibn Majid of West Africa. In AD 1312, Emperor Abubakari Muhammad of Mali gave his throne to Mansa Musa. And if you remember, Mansa Musa is the richest man in the history of the world. So again, in AD 1312, Emperor Abubakari Muhammad of Mali gave his throne to Mansa Musa and embarked with his fleet into the Atlantic Ocean in search of the continent opposite Africa. Archaeological and epigraphic evidence indicates that Abubakari and or members of his expedition settled in pre-Columbian Brazil and other parts of the Americas. This, in a sense, can kind of show you how Abubakari, he left West Africa during the height of the Mali Empire, and he probably, in a sense, sailed to the Americas by following the North Equatorial or South Equatorial currents. And these currents, in a sense, would have taken a boat from the African continent, from Africa all the way to the Caribbean, all the way, in a sense, to the Americas. Many people don't even understand it. Do you know that South America is only a little over 1,300 miles? I repeat, South America is a little over 1,300 miles, across the Atlantic from Africa. That's less than driving from Chicago to the coast of the Key West. I mean, the Key West Islands associated with Florida. Yes, so you can see that the continents are close, and throughout world history, African people have made their way to the Americas. Ibn Fadullah al-Mari, in his encyclopedia Masalik al-Absar, said that mariners from Mali during the reign of Abubakari made transatlantic voyages. Al-Umari obtained his information from Mansa Musa, who was handed the kingship of Mali by King Mansa Abubakari when he set out to colonize the Americas. Very important to understand it, and always remember, Mansa Musa is recognized as the richest man that ever existed that we know about. The Malian people introduced their military agricultural, and boat technology to the Americas. The Manding built dwellings depending on the topography where they settled. Around AD 1310, thousands of Mandi or Manding speakers arrived in the Americas from ancient Mali. Ibn Fadullah al-Umari, in his encyclopedia Masalink al-Absar, said the mariners from Mali during the reign of Abubakari made transatlantic voyages. Al-Umari obtained his information from Mansa Musa, who was handed the kingship of Mali by Abubakari when he set out to colonize the Americas. So we can see, in a sense, is that Abubakari, on these large canoes that could hold, many sailors, he set out in a sense to find this new land. And these boats, in a sense, carried a lot of explorers, you see, a lot of adventurers. We like to assume that when you read the historical books, you only believe, or you would only believe, that Europeans were the ones who wanted to find out what was going on in the world, that the Europeans were the only people who were sailing back and forth between, the various continents, especially the Americas and the old world. But we know now, in a sense, given the evidence from some of the Arab writers, that we know that it was also much interaction between Black people in Africa and Black people in the Americas. You see, there was a constant trade, and it was through this trade, through this continuous communication between Africa and the Americas, that many civilization elements that we associate with Africa ended up in the Americas. Ibn al-Umari wrote, but the emperor, Abubakari, did not believe him. Yes. They sent out these boats. The boats ran into a current. And when it ran into the current, the boats, in a sense, kept sailing, but they didn't return. And so, when one of the boats did return, and they told Abubakari about this, Abubakari, instead of him being afraid, he said, damn, if those boats were taken somewhere, I want to find out where they went. The spirit of discovery. Musa continued. He equipped 2,000 vessels, 1,000 for himself and 1,000 for water and supplies. He conferred power on me, Mansa Musa, and left with his companions on the ocean. Think about that. Abubakari equipped 2,000 vessels. Those are some gigantic canoes back then. But just to think about the fact is that it was 2,000 vessels. The expeditionary force of Mansa Abubakari must have been immense, because the average boat on the Niger River in the 1500s and could carry 80 men. This means that anywhere between 25,000 to 80,000 men may have sailed from Mali along with Mansa Abubakari. Think about that. This was an immense expedition, considering the amount of men that could be carried on one of those canoes back in the day. West African nautical science suggests that many members of Abubakari's expeditionary force made it to America, because we find many Mandi Malian inscriptions throughout Mesoamerica, North America, South America. If you can look at these inscriptions are written in the Mandi script. We can see going from top to bottom, the Spruce Hill tablet, the Byfield, Massachusetts tablet, the Patao, Oklahoma tablet, the Chihuahua, Venezuela inscriptions, and Brazil inscriptions. So we see that these inscriptions that I've just posted on this right-hand side, they're from all over the Americas, from North America all the way down, in a sense, to South America, on into, in a sense, Brazil. So you can see how these Black people, they came from Africa, possibly during the period of after the voyage of Abubakar, given all those people out there on boats. They left these inscriptions to tell us that they were there, to tell us, in a sense, their history. And also, if you look at that one from Chihuahua, Venezuela, now that's a very interesting one, because see, the inscription is in the form of an animal, but you see that when you break down that fourth inscription from Chihuahua, Venezuela, you see that when you break down that picture, you can see how it forms, how that picture, in a sense, was not just a picture, but it was also a Mandi inscription. And this Mandi inscription had valuable knowledge that would allow, in a sense, the Mandingo explorers that were part of the expedition of Abubakari to be able, in a sense, to write valuable information for those explorers so that they wouldn't, in a sense, hurt themselves. You see? But that's because these people, it was power and greatness. Yes, yes, yes. These followers of Abubakari, they were brave. They were warriors. They were Navy men. They, in a sense, were sailors. They had considerable nautical knowledge. You know, we forget this. You know, we just always like to think of Black people sitting around a hut, maybe Hoogaboa, talking Hoogaboa, something like this, instead of really realizing that these people, in a sense, were great military men. These people were engineers. They were scientists, you see. Yes, scientists, doctors, you know, and they were very literate, you see. But we don't understand the power and greatness of these African people, these Black people, because the fact is, this is that we've been conditioned to believe that the Black man has always been subservient to the white man as a result of white supremacy. And this is false. It's not true at all. Much of what we know about West Africa and nautical science comes from Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama is said to have found information about the West from Ahmed ibn Majid, you see, whom he met along the west coast of Africa. Majid wrote a handbook of navigation on the Indian Ocean, Red Sea, the Persian Gulf, Sea of Southern China, and the waters around the West Indian Islands. Majid is also said to be the inventor of the compass. Paul Gaffarel, in his Studies sur la rapport de l'Amérique et de l'ancien continent, said that when Balboa reached America, he found negre veritables, or true blacks. Balboa noted Indian traditions of Mexico and Central America indicate that Negroes were among the first occupiers of the territory. This is why so many Mexicans have African faces. Yes, yes, yes. Vasco da Gama tells us about these Black people, and it explains why they have African faces. You know, a lot of times, in a sense, they want you to believe that, okay, you know, these Mexicans, they have African faces, and it's African faces go back to slavery. Some of it probably does go back to slavery, but a lot of it goes back to the fact that Mexico has long been occupied by Black people. The majority of people who lived in that area in Mexico and Central America were Black people. So it's only natural, in a sense, that many of the so-called Native Americans would have these Black phenotypical features. Paul Gaffarel, in Studies sur les rapports de l'Amérique et de l'ancien continent, said that when Balboa reached America, he found negre veritables, or true Blacks. Balboa noted Indian traditions of Mexico and Central America indicate that Negroes were among the first occupants of that territory. Yes, yes, yes. And he said that's why they have African faces. The South American Indians have a tradition that Mansar Akban was the leader of another tribe which discovered the Kunan people. This Mansar Akban may be a reference to Mansa Abubakari. Look at that name. They talk about Mansar Akban, and then we have Mansa Abubakari. See how those names they're almost identical, you know. And so then this is even further evidence that Abubakari had probably reached the Americas. The Manding lived in mounds along the Niger River. The mound culture of ancient America were built by Africans, primarily Manding. The people of the Niger Delta formed riverine communities, which were partly vegetation, with some aquatic animals, used for food. The ancient Manding built several types of homes. In ancient times, they built masonry houses and cliff dwellings, identical to those found in the American Southwest. In medieval times, they lived on mounds in the most watery areas in their circular huts, made of made of stone and wood on the top of their fields in front of the mounds tilled each day. These in a sense, this is not in a sense a Mandi. These are in a sense West African Dogon houses. Just to show you how these people in a sense constructed their own homes so they could have valuable property where they could in a sense, support themselves. The Malian people introduced their technology to the Americas. The Manding built dwellings depending on the topography. Near rivers, they lived on mounds. In semi-arid regions, they lived in cliff houses, like those found in the Southwest. Today, the Dogon who trace their descent to the Mandi live in identical dwellings as those found in Colorado, where Manding inscriptions dating to the AD 1000s have been found related to the Pueblo culture. Here you can look at, here we have in a sense, some pictures of cliff dwellings. The top picture is of cliff dwellings dating to the Dogon people of West Africa. In the bottom picture, we see in a sense, dwellings that were built in the mountains in Colorado. Yes. The top picture is Africa. The bottom picture is, in a sense, Colorado. Look at those similarities. Striking, isn't it? The artwork, the features. It's always so interesting that you can see how these cultures were carried over from one location to another location, you see. According to the explorer Cadamatsto, the Mali Marines wore white caps on their heads and a white tunic. On the side of the skull cap, worn by the Malian Marines, a white wing decoration was emblazoned, and a feather was stuck in the middle of the skull cap. On board each naval vessel stood a Marine with a round leather shield on his arm and a short sword. Other Marines were armed with bows and arrows. Murphy reported that the Malian military wore a uniform consisting of sandals, loose-fitting cotton breeches reaching down to the knees, a sleeveless tunic, and a white headdress of white cotton or leather, decorated one or more feathers. The major weapons of the Malian soldiers included iron-pointed spears, daggers, and short swords, wooden battle clubs, and, of course, the bow and arrow. The Malians left many inscriptions, many of those we talked about earlier. Here's a Mandi inscription from Bahia, Brazil. Inscriptions in this category are found at Paracaba, Brazil. Another group of inscriptions were left in areas suitable for settlement. Once a safe place was found for settlement, the Manding colonists built stone cities or mud habitations. One of these lost cities was found in AD 1753 by Banderistas. Wilkins reported that these inscriptions, here's an artifact, This artifact was found down in Mexico. Now, take a look at this artifact. This artifact is very, very interesting, you see, because when you look at the skull cap, the knee length breeches, you begin to see evidence of a Mandi Marine. Isn't that how they describe them? Skull cap, you know, trousers down to the knee. We see that representation right there. Wilson reported that these inscriptions were found in the state of Bahia, Brazil. That's the early inscriptions I showed you. By Padre Teles de Menezes in Marajo near the Paraoacu and Una rivers, engraved over a mausoleum. They tell us that the personage buried in the tomb was named Pei. The most startling evidence of Malians in Brazil is the Brazil tablet, discovered by Colonel P.H. Fawcett in an unexplored region near the Kulani rivers. The interesting thing about the tablet was the fact that it had African pigment and features. That's the tablet that was found in Brazil. Again, note those characteristics: the skull cap, the breeches, knee-length breeches, and he's holding the inscriptions in his hand. Yes, he's holding that disc, and those inscriptions are written in the Mandi script, you see. And so, as you can see, these inscriptions here from from North America, by from Massachusetts, Bogota, Oklahoma, Venezuela, and then down in Brazil, you can see that continuity, and you can see in a sense how it was transported to all these different places. The most startling evidence of Malians in Brazil is the Brazil tablet, discovered by Colonel P.H. Fawcett in an unexplored region near the Kulani River. On the left-hand side, you can see the Brazil tablet. The interesting thing about this tablet was the fact it had African pigment and features. Take a look at that picture now. The personage in this tablet was an elite of the Malian colony in Brazil. Evidence suggesting a Manding origin for the Brazil tablet are 1, the crown worn by the personage on the tablet, crown or skull cap, the Manding inscription inscribed across the chest and feet of the figure on the Fawcett tablet, and 3, the evidence of breeches similar to the Manding-style military uniform worn by the personage depicted on the Fawcett tablet. The decipherment of these inscriptions detail the burial place and cause of death of a Mansa or Mandi king. It appears that the Mansa on the Brazil tablet was named Be. It tells us that Be was buried in a hemisphere tomb, i.e. mound. The Malians in South America also built their homes on top of mounds. The major centers of habitation appear to have been Panama and Venezuela in addition to Brazil. In Brazil, there are many megalithic structures that seem to have their prototype in Africa. For example, in Alagoas, we find many stone monuments similar to those found in West Africa, such as stone circles formed by rocks placed vertically on the ground. Near rivers, they lived on mounds. In semi-arid regions, they lived in cliff houses, like those found in the American Southwest. Today, the Dogon, who trace their descent to the Mandi, live in identical dwellings as those found in Colorado, where Manding inscriptions dating to the AD 1000s have been found related to the Pueblo culture. Look at this picture. On the left-hand side, you can see Telem. And these are cliff dwellings that are found in West Africa at Telem. On the right-hand side, you can see the American cliff dwellings. Look at how they are identical. Yes, they are identical. See. There's no way that this could be a coincidence. The same people who built the cliff dwellings at Telem were related to those people who built the American cliff dwellings out in Colorado. The habitation mounds in Brazil are called sabukis. Some of the sabukis have radiocarbon dates going back into prehistory, while many of the mounds where artifacts have been found are related to the culture of Venezuela and have dates contemporaneous with the Malian voyages. Here's a statue that they found in one of the mounds in Brazil. Very interesting, isn't it? The expeditionary force of Mansa or King Abubakari must have been immense because the average boat in the Niger could carry as many as 80 people. That suggests that some of those canoes may have as many as 80 people. And if it was 2,000 of them, I mean, damn, it would have been easy to have had that many people there. And just to think about the fact that would explain why they had each canoe. They had a canoe full of food for each group of sailors. So just to let you just try to fathom, just imagine the immense number of explorers that left Mali with Abubakari. In Mexico, the Malian wonders are depicted in the Maztec Codex Dorenberg. These migrants are bearded, they have large noses and lips, and are represented with black skin. In addition, in the Codex Dorenberg, they are also seen in the Codex Tro, with staff or spear in hand, feathered headdresses, polished earrings, cloaks, and loincloths made of the finest woven cotton. They wore arm and wristbands and small white shells on their ankles, which rattled as they walked, usually a group of twos or threes and stuff. Yes. It's very important in a sense that we think about the beauty of the civilization. Think about it. We've been conditioned to feel in the sense that the only black people that were in the Americas were slaves. But now we are talking about the fact is that there were explorers directly from Africa. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that there were not already Aboriginal black people in these United States, because there were. I'm not saying that these blacks didn't have their own civilization. And in fact, black people in the Americas have been here for ever since 10,000 BC. And the Anzac boy in 10,000 BC carried the R haplogroup, which is the same haplogroup carried by 25% of foundational black Americans. I repeat, the Y chromosome R coming to this area is also, in a sense, a haplogroup that many foundational black Americans carry today, 25%. In Mexico, due to previous cultural developments, the Mandican, which is another name for the Mandi or Mandingo or Mandi people, Mandican, found large, heavily populated Indian communities. Therefore, the Malian colonies did not establish any large communities in Mexico, but they were active traders and are remembered for their merchandise. There are Mexican traditions of groups of foreigners moving northward throughout the early 14th century. These men probably formed the vanguard of a larger body of Malians, which probably entered Mexico in 1325 and fought the Mexicans around this time for land to settle. The battle of these Africans and Amerindians is seen in the legends of battles between an eagle and a serpent, and the choice of the site of the battles as the place to build. Yes, eagle and a serpent. Mexico's Tenochtitlan was this area. The serpent in the totem of the Mandican. Yes, the serpent is the totem of the Mandican people. It therefore represents the Malian forces and eagles, the American Indians. Among these foreign migratory groups, it is reported in Amerindian tradition that they took the practice of agriculture and pottery making to the Chichimecs and helped design and build the houses around Lake Texcoco in 1327. Yes. And just look at this. You can see that that these areas, in a sense, were occupied. The Malians have left many inscriptions in the southwestern part of the United States. The presence of Mandi in four corners is supported by the appearance of Dogon and Bambara ideograms, called petroglyphs, on rocks in the Anasazi area. The Malians spoke many languages, including Akan, Dogon, Bozo, Mandi, etc. There were Malian tribes settled throughout the USA. They left many inscriptions in the southwestern part of the United States. The presence of Manding in four corners is supported by the appearance of Dogon and Bambara ideograms called petroglyphs on the rocks in these areas. Yes. Here's some of the petroglyphs. These petroglyphs, they come from this area. And as you can see, many of these petroglyphs, they represent signs that we also find, in that the Mandi people made in Africa. Moreover, there are several tablets found in four corners which have been deciphered that were written in an aspect of the Mandi or Malinki Bambara language. The Manicans lived in Virginia in the Roanoke River Valley. They mined copper and grew three sisters, beans, corn, and squash, you see. In this map of Virginia, it shows where the Mandican lived. And if you look carefully at this map, you find that these Manicans, what do the Mandi people call themselves? Manican or Mandican. These Manicans lived in Virginia in the Roanoke River Valley. They mined copper and grew the three sisters, beans, corn, and squash. Yes. This map records these Manicans. Yes, you didn't know that, did you? I bet you didn't know that just like the Maninke people named for the people in West Africa, that we also find the Manike or the Manicans in Virginia, in the Roanoke River Valley. Yes. These people there, these Manican probably go back to the voyage of Abubakari. Remember, Abubakari came to these United States with at least the Americas with over 25 to 80,000 followers. So you can see that these people, given the number of people who came with Abubakari, they would have had an immense, effect on the Americas. That's one of the reasons why, if you think about it, when many of the when the Spanish came to Americas, they often brought interpreters. They brought Black Jews, and they brought Black Moors. And you'll find, in a sense, that because of the fact that these people spoke Hebrew or Arabic, you'll find, in a sense, that often they were able to communicate with many of the Indian groups, because many of the Indians, because of their association and understanding of Arabic and Hebrew, they were able, in a sense, to communicate with these explorers. They came to the Americas. Yes. But it's important to understand that the Manican, or the Mandi-speaking people, formerly lived in Virginia. The Manican belonged to the Iroquois Confederacy. Corrine Wood, a researcher, claims to belong to the Manican tribe, which died out in 1880s. She claims that the Manican language is related to Tutlo. Let me explain to you. What happened is that the white man, he sent a whole lot of red Indians throughout the Americas, throughout the United States. And these red Indians, they go settle in a place where there was formerly a Black Indian tribe. But that Black Indian tribe, because of the fact they lost their land because they had to pay taxes, even though they weren't recognized as citizens of the United States, they still made these Aboriginal Black people pay taxes, and they lost their land. And so then the government has sent these red men around the United States where there were Black tribes, and they have allowed those red Indians to adopt the names of the Black tribes. That's kind of what this Corrine Wood is doing. But let's look at in a sense the Tutelo, which is supposed to be the language that some of the Manican spoke, and the Mandi. Let's look at some words. For example, we got Sabe, black, and Mandi, Safe. In Tutelo, we got Api, good, and we got Mandi, P. In Tutelo, we got Ate, father, and we got Te, man. In Tutelo, we got Te, dead. In Mandi, we got Te, dead. In Tutelo, we got Ludi, eat, and Mandi, dumu. A lot of times, words that begin with an L or D are found in, cognitive words, or words that have the same meaning, often can be pronounced with an L, initial L, or an initial D. And so again, as you can see from these words, that the Tutelo, which they believe was the language spoken by the Manican people, you can see that the Tutelo language, many of the words in that language, show affinity or cognition or correspond to various Mandi words. Again, but this shouldn't be a surprise, because as I told you before, the Manican people, Mandican Africa, Mandican Virginia, these were the same tribal groups, and they spoke the same languages, And here's another map showing where the Manican was located, Yes, this map shows where the Manican was located in Virginia. And the Manican, in fact, the name Manican is, is recorded on this particular map. The Manican buried their dead in mounds. Yes. This, again, in a sense, we do know that from the Europeans who met the Manican, they built mounds. The Manican, in a sense, they mined copper, and we have some of the words from their language, which all seem to point to a Mandi origin. There were other Malians living in the Americas. A good example of the Malians in North America are the Nanticokes. The Nanticokes were described by B.S. Barton as very dark. This tribe of Black Native Americans formerly lived in the Chesapeake Bay and Delaware. The Nanticoke have two origin traditions. The first is that they formerly lived in the central United States and migrated eastward 300 years before the coming of the Europeans to avoid incessant warfare. Due to this warfare, they began to migrate from the central United States to the shores of the Chesapeake. The Powhatan went north, while the Shawnee and Nanticoke went south. The interesting thing about this tradition is that it would place their origin in the central United States to around the time of Abubakari, 300 years ago. That's, considering in a sense this tradition was recorded in the 1600s, 300 years, 1600 minus 300 goes back to 1300s, which would have been around the time that Abubakari made his voyage on the Atlantic Ocean in the direction of the Americas. And now you can look on the left-hand side, and you can see a list of the Nanticoke words, numerals, and the Mandingo numerals. And if you look carefully, you can see that these numerals, these numbers 1 to 10, are identical in the Nanticoke language and the Mandi language. Interesting, isn't it? Here's another example. The Nanticoke first met the Europeans in 1608. Between 1641 and 1648, they were fighting wars with the colonists and other Indians who wanted their land or to sell them as slaves. Due to the constant wars with the European colonists, the Nanticoke affiliated with the Iroquois by 1753. Although the Nanticoke had fought many wars against the Iroquois, they got along better with this group than with the colonists. By 1756, some Nanticoke had migrated up to Ontario and had become part of the Iroquois Confederation again. That's why we find Nanticoke and the Mandi having identical numerals. In 1528, the Spanish explorer Cabeza de Vaca and Estevanico de Ramales de Moor discovered numerous people living in the American Southwest as they sought to discover the seven cities of Cibola. The seven cities of Cibola were supposed to be centers where fantastic amounts of gold could be found. In the Four Corner region, de Vaca found various ethnic groups speaking a multiplicity of languages. Due to the pluralistic nature of these societies, the people could only communicate using sign language. Serum noted, and I quote, "In reality, the inhabitants of the pueblos, as we now know, were members of an extraordinary varied tribe. They spoke widely different languages and had different historical backgrounds." Devaka said that one of these ethnic groups, listen to this, Kabaka said that one of these ethnic groups was named Mandinka. Do we hear that again? Mandingo, Mandikan, Mandi. We find a tribe in the Four Corners region called the Mandinka. The name is almost identical to the word Mandinka, Malinke, the name of one of the Mandi-speaking people. In the Anasazi area, we find many depictions of the Malinke Bambara habitation sign and Kangaba sign in the American Southwest. This sign is frequently found in West Africa, an area settled by the Mandi-speaking people. The Kangaba sign is clearly depicted among the glyphs found in the Guehus range of southern Arizona. Look, here we can see the Kangaba sign, which we find in Africa, and then the Guehus sign that you found in Arizona, where we also find mention of a Mandingo tribe. Yes. Isn't this quite interesting? That's why you got to get my book on the Mandi in ancient Americas, so you can find out about this connection. See, but again, it is so easy when you learn about the ancient civilizations and cultures that Black people had, that you can see these cognition, you can see these similarities. As I said earlier, I will repeat, there was already Black people in the Americas. There's already Black people from North America down to South America, dating back 100,000 years. Yes, 100 something, because of the this mastodon bone that appears to have been, someone was eating in California. They can say 130,000 years. See, don't get it twisted. There was already Black people here, but some Black people continue to visit the Americas from Africa. In the Anasazi area, we find many depictions of the Malinke Bambara habitation sign and Kangaba sign in the American Southwest. This sign is frequently found in West African areas settled by the Mandi-speaking people. The Kangaba sign is clearly depicted among the glyphs found in the Guehus range of southern Arizona. See? Let me see the Guehus signs. There's an elephant slab that comes from this area. The elephant slabs were discovered in 1910 in Native American ruins by a boy at Flora Vista, New Mexico. Yes, this is an authentic inscription that they call the elephant slab. Yes, Edwin Sales of the Arizona State Museum made it clear that the elephant slab arrived at the museum in 1950. See, this elephant slab is written in inscriptions in the Mandi language. Here's a decipherment of the elephant slab. I quote, "The desert is hot. Birds are numerous, white, just as the goat, police bird in our language. The elephants are sick and angry. At present, the sick elephants are considerable. Life is spent removing thou sick elephants dried up by the sun. Many are sick. The dead elephants are pushed down into a hole, buried and sealed on the flat terrain adjoining the bed in the river at the dry place, the zone of inundation. My existence at the present family habitation is lean. On dry land adjoining the bed of the river, break up the terrain for cultivation, and thou cut the hearth. Break to pieces the flat lands to carve and make the family habitation and to find warmth." Think about that. This suggests that when Abubakari came from the Malian Empire, he brought elephants with him. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? See? It is amazing that there was once elephants there, and they found some bones of these elephants, maybe even some of the bones that they've assumed to be mastodon. Some of these bones could really be elephant bones. But they wanted to say they were mastodon bones so they could, in a sense, make it agree with an a prehistoric origin for many of these people. Only God knows. But again, in a sense, there was a great discovery of the Americas. And this discovery of the Americas came as a result of Abubakari leading his people on a grand expedition. A grand expedition from the ancient empire of Mali to the Americas. And in fact, we know that the king at that time, Abubakari, led the people here. See, this is just an image to kind of show you how these people, the court of these kings. Yes, I know you'd like in a sense to see a mud hut and see some people running around butt naked, but no, this would have been how the Malay court would have looked. These are the richest people in the world. You heard of Mansa Musa and all the gold he had. Well, these were the people, in a sense. Abubakari was the king before Mansa Musa. This is how their kingdom, this is how their court probably looked. Gold and colorful outfits. See, don't get it twisted. Stop. Allowing your mind to be contaminated by caves. Stop allowing your mind to be feeling inferior and not really seeing the greatness of these people, their culture, their navigation skills, their boat building skills. Yes, these people were great. In conclusion, in 1310, thousands of Malians arrived in the Americas. Many of these Malians settled throughout South America and the American Southwest, where they left numerous inscriptions written in the Mandican Bambara language that was spoken by the Malian court. For example, the Brazilian tablet indicates that the Malians probably landed in Brazil. This is a significant artifact because the elite on the Brazil tablet, as you can see on the right-hand side, wears a uniform associated with Malian Marines. The discovery of a Brazil tomb dedicated to Pei may in fact be the tomb of Bey, who is depicted on the Brazil tablet. Yes. These people, Abubakari left the Mali Empire. He sailed to the Americas. Yes. What is FBA? FBA is not a group. FBA is not an organization. FBA is a lineage. A lineage is lineal descent from an ancestor, ancestry or pedigree. As a result, we are descendants of the Black Europeans, Africans, and Aboriginals of Blacks who built the United States. Yes. Please order my books, African Empires in Ancient America. We are not just Africans. Atlantis in Mexico. Olmec language and literature. Ancient scripts in South America. Get these books. Learn more about our ancestors who lived in these Americas. Learn more about the various Black people who lived here. I'm not in a sense saying that the only people here had to come from Africa, but we do have evidence. We do have direct evidence that some Africans did transplant their culture here, even though the entire culture is a unique culture, and the language, in a sense, was just lingua franca used by these people. In the earlier posts, I showed how many of the Mayan inscriptions can be read using the Mandi language, which was a lingua franca. And we know about this language. I've done our videos. I'm going to bring some more videos, and I've written on this stuff, so I'll break it down to you. But again, get these books, African Empires in Ancient America. We are not just Africans. Atlantis in Mexico. Olmec language and literature, Afrocentrism, myth of science, and ancient scripts in South America. Get these books so you will understand the history, our great history in these Americas. Get these books. And also, in a sense, don't forget to get the book by David Imhotep, the first Americans were Africans, and my other book, The Mandan Ancient America. The Mandan Ancient America is a book where I discuss many of the much of the evidence and much of the information that we have that many people who lived in pre-Columbian America were Mandingo speakers. And of course, my book, African Empires in Ancient America, this is the only book where you'll find a discussion of African empires. Yes, African empires, not just African contributions. Thank you so much for joining me today so that I could talk to you about Abubakari and his discovery of America, because this is an important event, and it's an event that's had a tremendous effect on the rise of civilizations and cultures in North America and South America too. But what you have to remember is this, is that we are FBA. FBA is not a group. FBA is not an organization. FBA is a lineage. A lineage is lineal descent from an ancestor, ancestry or pedigree. Yes. Ancestry or pedigree, you see. As a result, we are descendants of the Black Europeans, Africans, and Aboriginal Blacks who built the United States. Yes, Thank you very much for joining me again for this discussion. How you doing, Teresa Miller? Hotep, bright greetings, Dr. Winters. How you doing, Keith Sane? Tones 5, what up, though? Jamil Describe, Steve, Tones 5, S.A. Smith, and Mr. Sharp. Thank all of you guys for joining me today. And again, check out this video again. Watch it over and over again so you can begin to internalize this information. Share this video with your friends. And right now, press that like button. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to kill you. Just go ahead and press that like button and make a comment. If you want to make a comment about the film, make a comment. Put a comment down in the discussion. I mean, sometimes it is kind of a little bit sad that people, in a sense, don't put any comments down, but put the comments down. And it's very interesting. Mr. Sharp says they should make a movie about Abubakari. They should, but they're not going to do that because they don't want Black people, in a sense, to know our greatness. They don't want people to know, in a sense, that we've done just as great things or greater things than they've done. Tones 5, thank you, Baba. Thank you, Tones 5. And also, guys, Tone 5 has made some very beautiful jewelry. He's made some very beautiful jewelry. I've talked about this on other shows. Check him out. Support this brother. He's doing some great work in Houston. I think it's Houston, yeah. S.A. Sharp, Mr. Sharp agrees. Thank you for your agreement. And of course, Carol Asbram, Hotep, Dr. Winters. What up, dude? Thank you. Again, in a sense, I'd like to thank all of you for joining me today. I'd like to thank all of you, in a sense, for understanding that we are FBA. And I want you to come back again and join me next week and every Thursday. Every Thursday, please join me here on, in a sense, Black History Gems. Join me so that we can discuss our history. Join me, in a sense, so that we will know the truth. And remember, if you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do.
If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears and stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black.